So there I was reacting, got pinged in the Discord server, and this was something that I really wanted to cover. I really wanted to go into this pretty blind, give my initial thoughts on this. Obviously, this is going to be a Dexerto article. I'm not affiliated with them. Personally, whenever I see Dexerto, I take everything they say with a massive grain of salt. With their reputation and track record, they have done some misreporting, specifically during the Gerard Cleo completionist situation, to which Dexerto did have to issue an apology and clarification. So anything Dexerto puts out, I do take with a massive grain of salt. But because we are talking about YouTube and very specifically how this channel is most likely going to be in the legal crosshairs in terms of service crosshairs, let's take a look at this. The article is YouTube cracks down on unoriginal content with new monetization policy. To which we go into, YouTube has announced a new policy to stop creators from making money with quote-unquote inauthentic content posted to the platform. Google-owned YouTube is taking steps to ensure that videos posted to the site are original and will start to identifying mass-produced content as part of the new content policy update. Creators on YouTube can make a killing with the platform's monetization tools through the YouTube partnership program, but in the age of AI, some users have been generating content that doesn't meet the criteria. Now, the site will be cracking down on certain content that could greatly change what types of videos are shared to the platform. YouTube takes aim at quote-unquote inauthentic videos. YouTube expects those making money to produce content that is quote-unquote original and authentic, and not repetitive. Quote, your content should be made for the enjoyment or education of viewers, rather than for the sole purpose of getting views, the site's current monetization policy state. The platform says that reviewers can't review every video and primarily focus on a channel's main theme, most views, newest videos, and the biggest proportional watch time. Come July 15th, however, YouTube will be updating its guidelines and will be more strict in its approach to unoriginal content. Quote, in order to monetize as part of the YouTube partnership program, YouTube has always required creators to upload original and authentic content, the platform said in a new statement. On July 15th, 2025, YouTube is updating our guidelines to better identify mass-produced and repetitious content. This update better reflects what inauthentic content looks like today. You will have to see. We'll have to see what updates YouTube makes, the effect they have on content through the platform, and if it ends up improving the viewer experience. Now, at face value, we can take this as, oh, the clear thing here that we're kind of going after is AI generated content, right? You know, all the Subway surfers and funny AI voiced ads. I think that's the logical, immediate conclusion. But as somebody who does reactions, I have tried to do other things repeatedly. I can tell you I have other channels. None of them have really done anything, right? I've had to redact Kip content in its entirety, which I will be explaining in this video as well. I do feel that at this point, with how this is worded, channels like mine are going to be on the chopping block. I don't think this is hyperbole. I think this is a very logical conclusion. And if we break down their thought process, it begins to be clear, right? YouTube has announced a new policy, inauthentic content, right? Inauthentic content is going to be, you did not create this yourself. You are adding nothing to it. You're not additive. You're not transformative. You are not bringing anything new to the table. Now, sure, there's going to be response videos. There's going to be videos citing other things, right? There's a number of videos who say use CoffeeZilla's work in the proper way that he asks that it is used. We're using, snippets of it to support your argument. Absolutely. That is a case of, authentic content, of new content. Google and YouTube is taking steps to ensure videos are original and start identifying mass-produced content as part of the new policy update. Look, I can tell you from having to hit metrics, I'm at 1.5K videos currently, right? Repetition and derivative are two terms that describe what I do. Whether you agree with that, whether you disagree with that, whether you're kind of on the fence, apathetic about that, the fact of the matter is that I had some banger videos in the past, but for all intents and purposes, I struggle getting over 1,000 views a lot of the time. It's because this is content mill for the sake of making sure I'm trying to keep my metrics up and to try to hit that growth that I want, right? Repetition is definitely going to put me in the crosshairs of new policies and any other React channel as well, whether they're transformative or not, thus leading to other conversations about how there is React content and then there's good React content. Good React content seeks to be transformative and additive of the original piece, but really it shouldn't be more than, say, 25% to 30% more additional runtime than the original video had. If you have a video running for an hour, you should be striving for an hour and 20 minutes. You have a video 20 minutes, somewhere within the 25-ish, 28 minutes. Like there's metrics that are backed in stuff like that, and other creators, I believe Smuggalon has also brought up things like that. I think Alicia Death has as well. Should be are original and start identifying mass-produced content. So I do feel that a lot of us React channels are going to run afoul of this. Creators on YouTube can make a killing with platform's monetization tools through the YouTube Partner Program. Sure. I mean, how many AI-generated videos do this already? The agent of AI, some users have been generating content that doesn't meet the criteria. I feel AI here, age of AI is ultimately going to be a tactic to try and divert attention towards the use of generative AI content, but I feel this is not necessarily a red herring, but it is going to bias the argument one way, and the actual policy themselves will be a lot more broadly sweeping. Site will be cracking down on certain content that could greatly change the types of videos that are shared on the platform. This tells me that there's going to be more than just AI quote-unquote content that's going to be in the crosshairs here. Content should be made for the enjoyment or education of viewers rather than the sole purpose of getting views. Site's current monetization policy state 1.5K videos in the course of, what, 2-3 years? I'm pretty sure that my own admission, right? I tried to hit certain metrics. I put out a lot of work. It's still less work than people, who actually do edited videos like Maxor and Russian Badger do, right? I'm not doing the amount of work and networking that someone like Brandon Herrera does. It's very simple. I sit in my room and I do the thing. It is not, sure, some people get enjoyment out of it, but ultimately, I wonder if there's, how do you define enjoyment? Engagement, because engagement's positive, negative, and neutral, right? You can have somebody say L video, pause the video way too much and talked over things, right? Okay. Even how do you gauge that? And this is going to be left ambiguous on purpose because of legal. Education of viewers. Reason why I redacted everything on Tactikip. If we go to Tactikip right now, all my videos have been redacted, and I do have a community post about that. At the end of the day, I don't have skill, merit, education, or experience to be discussing half the stuff I was discussing for all intents and purposes. We talked about it in the Fat Electrician video recently, on the Fat Files video. At the end of the day, why am I going to speak on certain subjects? We've talked ad nauseum for months about hiring the right people, supporting the right people, positioning the right people. We want to reward, skill and merit, education and experience, right? We want to reward those. I can't control what other people do. If you don't have experience or education, skill or merit in a field, and you do a thing, cool, you do you, boo. I'm not your mother. I can't control you. What I can control is what I do. And if I don't have skill or merit, education or experience in something, why am I going to talk about something? That seems pretty disingenuous in a number of YouTubers, like Kyle's Hill Science video, on channels who want to talk science but aren't actually talking science and ultimately being harmful to the overall science ecosystem. That literally backs things that have been said. Fat Electrician, right? Skill and merit, right? Officer class circa 1900, boo, right? You don't have the skill or merit to do what you're doing, therefore we look, not kindly on you. So, in terms of education, I don't really provide education content. I provide opinions, subjective opinions. So I think that, especially being a private platform, if the enjoyment is there, the education as well could also not be there, especially because there's a private platform. And if I say something incorrect, that does reasonably put me in hot water for all intents and purposes. Rather than sole purpose of getting views, I think that this is an odd take to have. Businesses should be making money, right? When they want a line go up quarter after quarter, ever increasing profit into infinity, that's when that becomes an issue, right? But businesses like YouTube are there to make money. That's why they have things like YouTube Premium, right? Like, that's why they're doing certain things, because they want to make money. There's a difference between making money and wanting to make the most money. The fact of having a video with the sole purpose of getting views, in my personal opinion, would videos by individuals like Logan Paul and Mr. Beast, would they not be in the crosshairs for this? However, I would also argue, counterpoint to that, we are arguing each of these in a vacuum. If we look at all of these together, enjoyment, education, and not for the sole purpose of getting views, I think then we start to see what this nebulous vision is. You want to have some content, you want to bring something new to the table. Unfortunately, as there are many channels out there who bring this up, YouTube is not necessarily kind to new people, right? They don't. It's hard to breach into that algorithm in a lot of ways. Platform says that reviewers can't review every video. I mean, that's honestly reasonable. Let's be fair and objective. Primarily focus on a channel's main theme, most viewed videos, newest videos, and a biggest proportion of watch time. So this also, the main theme, does go into, having different channels for different things, right? Having different channels, like a VOD channel, having a quote unquote main channel that you want to do something with, things related to tactical content, firearms, etc. Certain gaming content, right? Gaijin Goomba versus his other channel, Glim Glam Gets Stalker, right? We've talked about, boxes in the algorithm. This is supporting a channel's main theme. Most viewed videos, newest videos, and bigger proportion of watch time. My watch time all came from the first 3 or 4 months of what I was doing, and since has fallen off into obscurity. So, I mean, all of these in tandem with each other really illustrate, if you want to do YouTube, what success looks like. July 15th, so it's July 2nd as of recording this. So in about 2 weeks or so, we'll be updating its guidelines to be more strict with its approach to unoriginal content. This does not very specifically say AI. This is very specifically saying unoriginal content. What I do, and what a lot of React channels do, is derivative. Now, derivative, the funny D word, is not necessarily a bad thing. Most everything is derivative. Art is derivative, right? You look at look at a thing like the Silent Hill movie, right? Which Moist Critic was talking about recently. Then that's where specifically Centralia, Pennsylvania comes into play there. Silent Hill, the movie specifically, having the town kind of explained with the coal fire, it is derivative of that real life event of Centralia, Pennsylvania, right? So being derivative isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's what you do with the content. And I think that we really need to see some form of concrete policy to what unoriginal content means. I think we can get a good view. They want content that is educating and enjoyable and or educational, and not for the sole purpose of getting views, taking into account what your main theme, most viewed videos, newest and biggest videos are, as well as it being original. They clearly just want new stuff. This in itself, to me, looking at everything interweaving with each other, anything derivative is going to be on the chopping block. They throw AI in there. Yes, but this is going to be more than just AI. Me personally, it's my subjective opinion. I do think this is going to hit reactions. We will have to see. We'll have to see what the objective reality is. I think that there is going to be a hammer stroke here, and React channels are going to be on the chopping block. And honestly, some of them rightfully so, right? We need to make sure we're adding content. We need to make sure we're adding context. We need to make sure we're being additive, right? I will also say that it becomes a death spiral, because if you're too additive, right? So if we look up, our Helldivers 2 reaction, the Russian Badger video, right? Pretty sure it's the longest reaction to that video on the platform. The video did okay. And that's fine, right? If the content isn't engaging, if you take too many breaks and pauses to talk about things, you ruin the flow of the video, right? Anyone can do React content. Not everyone can do good React content, and that's important to understand. So that's fine. Even if you're additive, it is still considered derivative. It is not, even with my additions, original content. It would be unoriginal content. It would be inauthentic content by definition, even if it passed the 4 pillars of fair use. In order to monetize as part of the YouTube Partner Program, YouTube has always required creators to upload, quote, original and authentic content. The platform said in a new statement. I think this is really interesting considering the influx of... we've always had clippers, right? We've always had clippers of whether it's going to be something like Shane Dawson, Fred, Annoying Orange, Fred, Ray William Johnson, right? We've always... Salad Fingers. We've always had clippers in some capacity. And those can make livings by themselves, as far as I'm aware. Those can do well by themselves. So I think that this is an interesting statement. I personally, and this would not be what the purpose of this interview would be. They would not be supplying this in a statement. I would like to see what they're using to back this up. Sure, they say one thing via TOS, via, hey, this is what you're agreeing to, but the reality of what you get in it is going to be different in a lot of cases. On July 15th, 2025, YouTube is updating our guidance to better identify mass-produced and repetitious content. Already showcased 1.5K videos, completely derivative, right? For all intents and purposes. This update better reflects what inauthentic content looks like today. We'd love to see exactly what the updates YouTube makes, the effects they have on content throughout the platform, ends up improving the viewer experience. I think if it ends up improving the viewer experience, I think in itself is a faux pas. You should be doing your research. You should be doing testing to make sure that this is something that is going to benefit the platform. If you're specifically going after AI, it needs to say you're going after AI. This is very specifically striking anything and everything that is unoriginal, inauthentic, and does not match with any of this. So for all intents and purposes, the way I see it, this channel is in the crosshairs. This channel is going to be on the chopping block. I do my best to do what I can. I'm up to 3 videos a day at this point. I stream on the Funny Purple app sometimes. I've tried a couple other things, but unfortunately, just nothing takes off. And it's nothing that anyone should really feel bad about, right? Like, if I don't have content that you want to watch, why would you watch my videos? Why would you watch a video like this if you're here for funny reactions? And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. So I think it's just the latest change. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. And ultimately, I would like a lot more clarification in regards to YouTube's stances on React content, because I think there is a valid place for it, whether you have specialists, right? Navy SEAL reacts to Fat Electrician, right? CB reacts to Fat Electrician CB video, right? Firearms expert reacts to Brandon Herrera Darwin Awards, right? I think there's validity in that. I think we start getting into that disingenuous territory when someone like me does not have the skill, merit, experience, or education to talk on half the things that I do, and it can be seen as harmful to the overall ecosystem. But what are your thoughts? I'm curious what the back and forth is going to be on this. Definitely keep it civil in the comments down below, please. I implore you. This is one of those things that is important enough that I felt deserved its own video. And thank you everyone for watching, especially if you stuck with me for a hot minute. I know I've seen a lot of people recently saying they were lurking and they ended up finding me doing the funnies. So I appreciate you coming out. Appreciate everyone on Patreon supporting me as well as people supporting me on Ko-fi. They got me my new MMO gaming mouse because my mouse wheel has been pretty foobar, right? This is just me scrolling down. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you in the next one.